ran the sheriff's department in a manner that was anything other than professional.
I think that, because he's not going to be able to do this again in a position of power, that I can move forward with my life.
Do you have any regrets about the way the trial has gone?
No, I think that everything has worked out how it was supposed to, and hopefully showing other victims that they can come forward even though it's a long, tough road.
I can tell something was going on, but I just wasn't sure.
Okay. Could you see any physical manifestations of that?
She looked teary-eyed.
Will Lewis went from being a deputy to a sheriff in a bumpy ride marked by fights at work and legal troubles. Accused of doing wrong and facing a lawsuit over claims of bad behavior, his story shows how work and personal life can clash, leading to big consequences. The video will feature an interview with a deputy who's under an internal complaint. Before his 2019 conviction for misconduct, Deputy Will Lewis had been part of a prior departmental investigation.
That's entailing it, and then there was something else that tagged on to it.
You understand, Gary?
I understand.
Can't be used in criminal.
Yep.
It was sent to the sheriff. The sheriff sent it down to us. This is something that's very, very new to us. But we just want we got to get your side. It's uncomfortable. I know it is for both me and Laura, but all it's going to be is just getting your side of what these things are and then getting you back out on the road. That's all there is.
I like that?
You what? You like that? Do I like it?
Yeah.
Not really.
Really?
Looks more comfortable than all.
Yeah.
But this is the one that I got this one approved. It's the same thing, except this one's just it's got goat skin on the inside of it. Because I wore it on duty.
I've developed a callus right there. I could stick it with a needle right there.
Yeah, where it hits you.
Yeah, where it hits me.
Wouldn't hurt. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I mean.
Let's get this over.
Yeah, let's get it over with. Like I said, it's uncomfortable both of
That's
us.
the problem.
What's up?
I hope you understand that. This is just notification of formal complaint. Just that these are the things we're looking into. That's just our case number. Rules and regs 9001 is conduct unbecoming a deputy. Next one is 6007, and unprofessional behavior. Okay, these are all rules and regulations, violations that we're looking into that were brought to our attention.
What's that?
Various dates and all that.
She's on board too.
It's just I'll get that, make the copy and get that to you. The first one, like I said, was brought to us by Captain Brown. It was initially just going to be taken care of by him, and then as it went up the ladder, they needed us to look into it. Apparently, Scotty Mendenhall was being interviewed and trying to get hired on at Anderson.
Okay.
Did you at some point speak to somebody in Anderson, a deputy or major?
A major.
And talk to them about Scotty?
Mm-hmm.
About his, I don't know if it was personal stuff or about work or what? Can you kind of brief me on what happened with that whole thing?
What happened is I got a call from, I don't remember what day it was, we were on third shift. And I remember where I was parked at. I was parked outside of Kingsgate subdivision on Batesville Road, and I got a call asking me from Stan Whitten, telling me Scotty was going to apply over in Anderson County.
At first glance, it appears that the complaint originates from someone who might hold a personal grudge against Lewis. This individual might believe, whether accurate or not, that Lewis was responsible for them missing out on a job opportunity.
I used to fish with a guy over there, pretty good friends, and Gary Bryant, he's a major, and I called Gary and I said, man, this guy's coming over to apply for a job with y'all, and like I said, this was a request to Stan Whitten. I said, I got a guy coming over there to apply with y'all. I said his name is, I may have told him his name is Scott, I can't remember. I said,
Stan told you to call the major or something, or told
Stan said that he was going to call, or Stan asked me if I'd call over there and put in a word for Scotty, and that he was going to get in touch with Gary on Facebook, is what he
I sent
said.
to helping Scotty get the job.
Yeah, and that was Scotty. Stan went into the story about how Scotty had just recently bought a house, and that he was, he needed to pay for his house, whatever. I mean, kind of the sob story. So I called Gary, and I said, hey man, this guy's coming over to apply for a job. I said, I'm sure I told him his name. I wouldn't just call him, said some guy. And I said, he's a Citadel grad. I said, he's got a couple of medals of valor. I said, distinguished service over here. I said, he's not working for us anymore. I said, he needs a job. And Gary said, okay, if that's the case, then, why is he not working for y'all anymore? I said, man, he left in short order. I said, that's all I can tell you. I said, because at the time, I didn't know where Scotty had been fired, and I still don't. He was fired, resigned, quit. I don't know what happened. So at that point, that was the end of the conversation. We never talked about it again. And then, all this came up. So that's pretty much it.
Have you talked to any of your supervisors about this? Or did the captain talk to you?
Yeah,
Captain Brown
talked
talked to you?
I did tell Damon, I said I heard that there was somebody asking questions about some complaint that Scotty filed. I said that to Damon, but that was pretty much the end of it. Because he's
Did you go into anything that you knew about what happened, about why he resigned or got fired or whatever? Because personally, I don't.
No, I didn't, because to be honest, to this date, I have no idea if he was fired, resigned, quit. I still don't.
But under the circumstance, do you know about the search or the whole incident of why he got?
Yeah.
Was that mentioned? Did you discuss that at all with the major?
Yeah. Nope. And the reason.
Did Scotty call you, or did he not get the job or something? What have you heard about that since then?
No.
Or have you not heard anything until?
No. The last thing, just people talking on the street, the last thing I heard was that Scotty had applied or was working in Charleston. Was moving back to Charleston was the last thing I heard. I don't know anything about the kid.
Is Stan friends with him or something? Is that how he knew that he was?
Yeah. The way I understand it, they're pretty tight.
Oh.
But I don't run in that circle.
We hadn't talked to Stan, so
No, I don't run in that circle.
So, just for the record, you didn't say anything negative about Scotty?
No, I did not say anything negative about Scotty. Those are.
So your point in calling was to assist him or help him get a job there?
No.
Or kind of?
I wouldn't even go that far.
Okay.
My point was to call over there because Stan asked me to call over there and talk to Gary.
Okay.
So I did. I did not ever at any point tell Gary that he was a great guy. He needed to hire him. I didn't tell him he was a bag and needed not to be hired. I didn't tell him one way or another.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that I called over there to get him a job either. I did what somebody asked me to do.
Okay.
So.
Lewis seems relatively neutral about the accuser, although the person he spoke with might have sensed something in his tone. However, it doesn't appear that Lewis deliberately attempted to undermine the accuser's chances.
Okay, great.
And this is time out just for a time frame. This is just after the Bravo crap was over with.
I don't even know if it was over because I was at GTI. I have no idea what was going on.
Okay.
This was when I had to send you some supplemental from something from a year and a half
from
ago.
the older guy that did that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
This was at the same time period. So that's the same time period.
So when you left to go to that school, you're still on Bravo.
When I left to go to that school, I was still on Bravo.
Okay. Okay.
I get down there. I get, hey, we're glad you're coming over. We're looking forward to you coming to Echo. Great. Phone service down there was horrible. So it was probably that evening sometime when I was able to actually get around to calling somebody. And I called the captain, and I said, heard I've been transferred. And he said, no, Captain East.
Captain East.
And I said, all right. He said, yeah, we're moving you to Echo temporarily until we can figure out what's going on. I said, all right, that's fine. We'll stop that part of the story right there.
Okay.
In February of this year, Doug Bortone and I started the process of trying to get me switched over to Echo. Amy's school schedule, we knew it was coming. We knew ahead of time it was coming. The kids have been accepted into different schools, special schools. We knew all of these issues were going to arise. The schools have become more demanding. We had advance notice that there was going to be some issues if she had the kids at school before a certain time or after a certain time.
Okay.
So we kind of knew that this thing was coming.
What's that you do?
She's a teacher. I talked to Lieutenant Bortone about it, and he said, all right, well, let's start the process. He talked to Lieutenant Ridgway, and I talked to Lieutenant Ridgway. He said, well, come on, let's go talk to him now. So we went and talked to Lieutenant Ridgway. Ridgway said, we'll see what we can do. I'll put it out to my guys and see if anybody wants to transfer. Great. Nobody wanted to transfer off of Echo. That's fine. I said, well, over the course of the next several months, I said, whenever. I said, I'm giving you advance notice. I said, because August is when the school year is going to start. I said, so I'm going to need something in place by August. Okay, great. He said, 6-7 months notice. This is perfect time. We can do this.
Lewis talks about his effort to switch shifts to align with his children's school timetable. It's a relatively straightforward situation, so the level of confusion surrounding it seems quite puzzling.
This was obviously whatever the hell was going on in Bravo.
What was going on in Bravo?
So I said, man, that's fine. Time passed. Once, every couple of weeks we try to work something out or whatever. I'm working on it. I brought up the suggestion I said, listen, if it comes down to a point, I said, I'm going to need to be on that set schedule. I said, that's where we can get you into investigations, or we can do this, or we can try. I said, that schedule's not going to work for me. I said, I need this where I'm guaranteed that I'm going to be off in the morning when the kids, even if it's only for 4 hours sleep, 4.5 hours sleep, I come home and take a nap. As long as I can be there to make sure that the kids go somewhere. And during the daytime, if they're sick, I can stay home with them. Amy can split her class in the afternoon and still get a full day's work in. She's been there all day. So, everything was kind of in line there. I said, I don't need investigations. I said, I need the Echo hours. I said, if I need to, I can take a voluntary demotion to do that. And he said, okay.
The conversation continues about Lewis's struggles in resolving the transfer matter. Lewis displayed evident frustration with the situation, yet there's still no clear explanation as to why it occurred in the first place.
So, at September, it was the week before September 5th. And I'll tell you why I remember that day. Because the captain said, starting on Monday, which would be the 5th, you'll go to Echo as a deputy too.
So as Captain, who's aware of this? Just give me it. Captain East?
Captain East
Hubbard.
and Lieutenant Hubbard were the only two at that point when we were in his office that had seen my letter.
Okay. And they said that it had been approved above them?
The captain said, the major's aware, this has been approved and all that.
Okay.
So the captain said, all right, well, I'm going to call down to, I don't remember her name, Moses' wife.
Sally.
I'm going to call down to Sally, and I'll have the personnel order cut.
Okay.
I said, okay, great. So I walk out and got my way out, and the captain says, no, the sheriff's got an open door policy. If you want to go sit down and talk to him, you can. And I said, well, it's not, if he's already approved it, I'm thinking, well, I might even, no
So
offense.
to this point, sorry, but I just want to be clear. To this point,
Absolutely.
you haven't talked to the sheriff
No.
directly about any of this?
Nope.
Okay. And was this...
Lewis's superiors have made numerous promises, but there has been minimal follow-through, leading to his evident frustration. It's hardly surprising given the circumstances.
So he said on the 17th. I said, great. Well,
Time out. Did he say what? He just said everything
Yeah.
we handled by the 17th.
he said he was gonna take care of everything, and I would be where I needed to be on the 17th, or to be taken care of, and I would be where I needed to be on the 17th. I may be paraphrasing, I don't know if that's a quote, but something along those lines. I was under the impression that I would be wherever he wanted me to be put by the 17th.
Never Echo because that's what you needed, or
but never at any point did he ever say he was going to put me on Echo. Never at any point did anybody say that I would go to Echo. I asked to go to Echo, and we were trying to get me to Echo. And I'll let Lieutenant Hubbard tell you all of the stuff that he said about trying to get all the details he arranged about trying to get me over to Echo without me losing a strike. I don't know what all he did, but he worked his.
so you didn't care either way. But if you could still keep your strike, that'd be great.
That's exactly right.
It appears that Lewis's situation keeps worsening. There's a lack of proper communication regarding his transfer, leaving him completely uninformed about the proceedings and unsure of what steps he should be taking.
And on a personal footnote here, I was kind of like, well, it makes sense, but it's probably going to be easier for me to drop all my stuff off on Charlie, because if in the middle of the SWAT week I find out where I'm going, then I've got to leave SWAT, come up here, pick up some stuff, change out some stuff, get some new stuff, try to catch up with the supervisor, and then roll back out. So it wasn't an issue for me. So I told him, I said, I'll drive my personal car. I'll drive my truck. It's not a problem. You're not driving your personal car to SWAT team training. I've got a car for you. Just pick up that car. Okay, great. And that was the short version of that story. So I go and I pick up the Echo car Sunday night, and I drive it for the week.
Hey, time out real fast. About what time if we end up needing to pull that phone call?
That would have been right after roll call. So it would have been.
You're on night shift.
Yeah, it would have been somewhere between 7 and 8. So, I mean, probably closer to 7:30, maybe sometime in that time frame.
Okay.
So then I drive the Echo car all week. Now, the jokes have been immense. Where are you at this week? And that's just been the big joke. Where are you at? Where are you going? I don't know anything. Are you still an MD? Are you a deputy too? So I've been playing along with them, cutting up with people, and they're just jokes. I didn't make any derogatory comments about anybody. I didn't say I'm on Echo this week. I didn't say anything. I had gotten wind that this was coming down the pipe the last week, during the SWAT week. And so I called Lieutenant Hubbard and I said, have I ever at any point told you that I was going to Echo? And he said, no. He said, as a matter of fact, we don't know where you're going. That's been the big thing the whole time. And I said, okay. I said, I just want to make sure that I never at any point. He said, we all assume that you're going to Echo because those are the hours that you need. He said, but nobody has ever told you where you're going, and you have never told me where you're going. And I said, I just want to make sure that I didn't give the wrong impression or anything like that. And he's like, all right, yeah, that's it. Why? And I said, well, no, nothing to it. And then I told him, that's the day that I told him, hey, I got wind that Mendenhall filed a complaint. And that was the day that we had that conversation.
Yeah.
So
The situation persists with Lewis being given the runaround, leading to a growing sense that this might be more about internal politics than mere incompetence.
Yeah, so I just kind of, let that one go. So, I was like, well, if something comes available, and that was it. He said, he talked to the sheriff about it, and he didn't want me to take the motion, and the sheriff didn't want me to take the motion, and that was pretty much the extent of the conversation. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I talked to a couple of guys that Saturday night and told them that I wasn't, that I probably wasn't going to be back after the 17th, and that, again, I appreciated it.
Do you know who you talked to? Or who anybody you remember talking to?
We had all talked about going to breakfast, but we got really busy that night.
The whole, where were you working
just the west side.
Just the west side.
We'd all talked about going to breakfast, but I ended up late. Calmon ended up late. A couple other guys ended up high on the call up in 10.
That's the way it goes when it's time to get off.
Yeah, so I mean, that was pretty much it. So I mean, we were all kind of a scattered bunch. I sent out a message off the MDT, hey guys, we're not gonna be able to make it this morning late, whatever. Thanks for everything, and that was it. I appreciate it anyway. But a couple of guys didn't get the message, and I got a phone call about 7:45. Hey, we're sitting over here. Where are you? I'm like, I'm on the way, guys. So I went over and tightened the cage out from there. And sat there with her being.
Let me guess. The house. And that's good stuff.
With our hop on with us, and we ate a little bit, and
Them house would be open on Sunday morning.
no, and we talked, and that was it. And we just, I'll be honest with you. I think one question was brought up: "Where are you going?" And my response was, "I have no idea." And like I said, the following week is when I got wind of everything. And then I came back, drove the Echo car for a week, jumped in a Charlie car, and that's been where I've been. They moved me to the east side because there was an apparent personal, conflict between me and Sergeant Lane.
What's the deal with that? I mean, was there an issue about this whole swapping car thing? Did it get to be a tiff about it, or?
I had no tiff. No, there wasn't a tiff with me. I mean, whatever, Sergeant Silver made some comments on the phone that were not in any way insubordinate. He just said, well, listen, he said, if that's going to be a problem, I'll call Lieutenant Hubbard on his vacation. I'll call my lieutenant. We'll figure out what the deal is. And then finally...
The problem about Lane taking the car from you and you not having a vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but there was no...
What reason did he give you a reason as to why you needed to get rid of your car right then?
Sergeant Lane? And I do not ask questions of Sergeant Lane, and whatever he says, I just, either go along with it or, try to handle it by whatever means are necessary. And his personality and my personality are not, just don't gel. I mean, it's nothing personal against him. He's been around for a long time. He's a great guy. But I mean, that's Sergeant Lane, and it's just a personality conflict.
I don't know any history between you.
We don't have history.
There's history, or
there's not history.
some people's personalities just don't gel. And we know that after all these people at the sheriff's office, everybody's not going to get along.
Personality conflicts are almost inevitable at work. Usually, people handle them professionally, but occasionally, they can escalate into petty actions, as seems to be happening in Lewis's case.
I'm not very happy.
Just not happy with things here right now.
I know. Okay. Well, you want the flat out truth? I'll tell you the flat out truth. I got railroaded, period. If you don't talk about anything at all, people will make up their own. I choose to keep my mouth shut about it. Mendenhall, I keep my mouth shut about whatever's going on with Bravo. You don't say anything, and people are going to talk shit. Eventually, people are going to start listening to what's being talked. And I'm tired of getting the sideways look that I'm the cause or reason of Bravo platoons. The whole investigation. That's what was said. That I was the cause. Then it got out that I was the one who spread the rumors about Cheryl Cromartie and Billy Brewer. That whole thing came out that I spread all these. That's shit. That is not true. That is not what happened. I can tell you where it started. I can tell you how it started. I can tell you how it ended up. And I can probably tell you who spread that rumor. But it was not me. But when my face is not present, they're going to point a finger at me.
Lewis seems to accurately depict how workplace rumors circulate and impact individuals. And everything about this situation aligns with this narrative.
Because I failed to put that part in there. I'm back to being a full-time student now.
Oh,
So all of these things combined, yeah.
what you going to school for?
Study your religion.
Cool. At Tech or?
And psychology and liberty. So it's been just one thing after another. And I'm keeping my house afloat.
I just wanted to make sure.
So, well
Obviously,
that right up,
your
I
home
signed it
thing
with
is.
bullshit.
But your home, I just want to make, that's your business, but I just want to make sure you were good. Because I know And I straight told him, note that. I said, that's not Will. I said, Will's always got his stuff put together and you know.
Willie had it. Yeah.
I know.
Willie had
I
it.
know. But I just wanted to make sure that, or see if there was anything that
And this right here, while we're on the
could
topic,
make it better.
and while we're on the topic, this right here is bullshit. This shouldn't even be an investigation. This is something that should be taken care of by somebody else. You know what? The dude, well, can y'all even tell me, was he fired? Did he resign? What was it?
Mendenhall County? I don't know. I wasn't here when all that happened. I think he resigned.
I think he resigned, tried to come back, and then they told him that wasn't a good idea. It's because it was like and this is just from memory, I'd have to look it up.
Was that Tina's case, or was that yours?
That was Tina's.
That was before I was down here, so I don't know.
That's some bullshit.
But I thought I heard that he resigned.
Because I remember, because we talked about this later, I remember him coming in the office, like wearing a suit and like a coat and tie or something, and he was upstairs. And this was after everything was said and done. Because I remember thinking, what's he doing up here in a coat and tie? And the sheriff wasn't here, and so he went and saw the chief. Is the last thing I heard about it. But then, I was friends with him on Facebook, so right after that I just didn't feel comfortable. So I took him off my Facebook page. But the last thing I saw was that he wasn't going to be in law enforcement anymore, that he was heading to Charleston or something. To do something totally different.
I mean,
I was wondering if you said you heard he bought a house. He bought a house when he didn't have a job at the moment.
I mean, this kid, I don't know anything about it. The times he and I didn't necessarily get along, but we weren't. It's not like we hated each other, but he and I he did things. You do this job long enough, you can pick out the ones who are a little bit questionable. People don't pop up with ounces and ounces of meth on cases like that and that from the road without, I stumbled across this. Shit doesn't happen. I mean, it's paperwork. Everything else is jacked up as a 9-eyed nanny goat. No. You tend, but you see these things. I mean, you can kind of pick these things up, and even though you can't put a finger on what the problem is, and the way I got brought into all this was that the guy that was working on my side of town was present when he did whatever he did on the south end. He calls me and tells me this. He said, "Man, I got something I need to tell you." He calls me and tells me the story, and I said, "You got two options." I said, "Number one, I said you can keep it to yourself." I said, "Number two, I said you can go talk to a sergeant about it." I said, "Those are your two options." I said, "But option A, I said, if you keep it to yourself, I said, I'm going to be the one to go talk to a sergeant about it." I said, "Because you've put me in it now." I said, "And now if something happens and I know about it, I'm in as much trouble as he is." I said, "And be prepared to reap what happens if I go talk." I said, "Because you're the one that's going to get bit too." So later on that morning, he goes in and does whatever he has to do. After that, that was it. They never called me and asked me any questions. They never brought me in and talked to me about it. Dave Bryan wanted to talk to me about it, but I didn't want to talk to him about it. So I didn't. That was the end of it. So this kid, and I've heard, and I've been hearing for weeks now, that this kid, and I think the last thing was, "I will pay for what I did to him." That was said.
Who said that?
We'll keep that in mind until all this happens.
Sheriff's going to ask me.
Yep. Well, when he does, he can ask me. I'll tell you something. I have turned down 2 jobs in the last 6 weeks.
I remember we talked about that too.
And let me tell you something about why did I didn't tell you the funny part. I about threw up in my lap when I found out how much they were going to pay me. $87,000 a year working for Shagall's in Virginia.
Given how Lewis describes his work environment and the offers he's received from other departments, it seems like he should have seriously considered taking one of those alternative job offers.
Shagall's.
In Virginia.
You know Shay, yeah. Working for USAA up in Virginia in Chesapeake. I almost vomited in my lap when I found out how much they were going to pay. You know who got the job?
Who?
Eric Lewis.
Eric Lewis.
Really?
Yes, not the same Eric Lewis you know. Eric Lewis got the job.
So if you're willing to move to Virginia.
He picked up the phone and called me when he got the job and said, "I just wanted to tell you thanks." I said, for what? He said, I heard you was looking into the job up here. I said, yeah.
Was Eric still working down there?
Yeah. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, man, he said, you know that's where I'm from. He said, I picked it up, man. I appreciate it. I said, man, it ain't no problem.
Doing what?
Investigations for USAA insurance. And I said, how much? I said, I'm just curious. I said, how much? Because I had been told 60 or 65.
Yeah.
I almost threw
Well, you're not going to take your family up to Virginia.
For $87,000 a year, I'd move my family to Antarctica.
There's not too many Walmarts in Antarctica.
Oh, yeah, but the price of living up there is a lot higher than here,
it
too.
is. It was $1.2 million for the cheapest price we could find in Chesapeake.
God.
And that's why we didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I didn't take it. But that was all that was right there. So you know,
I'm not trying to get y'all riled up, and
well, I mean, this.
I know
this
things get you pissed off because it was, you know, and I know you're tired of coming up in here, especially after all that Bravo crap.
Yeah.
Dogs, the Bravo thing.
Yeah. So,
I mean, this is
and
getting
I
old.
know I'm not trying to get you, but you know when it's brought to our attention, we have to ask.
I understand, but see, you want, here's my.
And you know that we know that there's two sides to every, or three sides to every story.
Yeah.
You know, so
Exactly.
that's why we want to get your side of things.
Who said this? Who told you?
Lewis appears composed by the investigation and is willing to address potentially unpopular questions, even if they become public. However, considering that those who have an issue with him hold higher positions, his prospects within the department seem uninviting unless this investigation leads to some resolution.
So that's where the 17 came from.
And just for his words were that he just said everything will be taken care of
Because at that point,
that you needed or whatever.
yeah, whatever, it'll be taken care of. You know, get you where you need to be. Something to that effect. I don't know
But
exactly.
he didn't say you're going to start on Echo on
He
17.
did not tell me I was going to start on that on the 17th. No, he did not.
Back to the Sergeant Lane issue.
Okay.
And like I said, he was not the complainant by any means. This came up during some other parts of this when we were asking about the whole other stuff. Is there a deal between, or did you think there was some investigation going on or something? Or do you, I mean, we've already talked about how you feel and y'all's deal, you and Sergeant Lane. There's no history, but y'all not going to exactly go have a beer together. Is there issue with Dallas, Sergeant Gladson, at all?
Absolutely not. Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I know absolutely nothing about Sergeant Gladson.
Okay.
I mean, he's a new sergeant, and that's all I know.
Have you ever said anything about taking Sergeant Lane down and taking Dallas with him?
Hell no. Man, this is some bullshit. No. I didn't say anything like that. I never made any comment about taking anybody down.
There, about, like, when all this started.
You mean
and the whole-
physically or like
No. Like in here.
hell no?
Like if something were to happen to where you go.
Now it makes
or,
sense.
Or get.
What's that?
Now it makes sense. I got a phone call the other day. Some dude was running his mouth that I had been in OPS for 2 days, writing statements on people.
Who said that?
Some kid on the fucking south end. I don't even know who it is.
Now, you talking about
Yeah. Now I know. Now it's starting to make sense. Now I'm digging it. All right. Now I know where that came from. Now, okay, go ahead.
How do we find out who?
I'll find out who it was. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out.
There was, in other words, if when everything was going on, like we said, the issue with the write-up about the car not being serviced, all that crap, and you not knowing if you're going or staying or all that. In the midst of that, I don't know if you thought something was under investigation in here or anything like that, but it was kind of like if something happens to me, I'll be sure and bring them down with me.
Absolutely.
Not physically hurt them. I just mean
I know what you're talking about. Absolutely.
the way it was portrayed to us as if,
Nah.
you know, going to make sure that.
No, I never made that comment. I never said anything even remotely close to that. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. I said, I told a guy one day, Sergeant Lane and Sergeant Gladson were talking to two kids about something that they had done on the north side of the county, and I told them both. I said, when they came back and told me about it, what the conversation entailed, I told them, I said, listen, I don't agree with what they're telling you. I said, but you do what your sergeant tells you to do. This is my opinion, but I'm telling you, do what your sergeant tells you to do. Matter of fact, it's been just the opposite.
And I know that
That's
this is
bullshit.
the whole reason you've been frustrated, obviously, since you told us now that was why you've been not happy around here. And this is the kind of crap you're talking about, and I understand that.
This is
I
kind of
understand
bullshit.
that. And
Bullshit.
just to clear,
You don't have to know.
just to clear the record, it was not Dallas. Dallas has no problem with you whatsoever on this earth. You know them. He would hardly say a bad word about anybody in this whole world.
I ain't got a problem with Dallas either. I ain't got a problem with him. Matter of fact, Richard has just been. It was funny one morning because we were talking, and even though his personality and my personality aren't the same, and we don't necessarily get along, we've been to lunch together 2 or 3 different times. And
I think Dallas is one that can get along with anybody. He's
well,
pretty.
Richard and I have been to lunch together a couple of times, and we talk about everything under the sun. Now when it punches 29 minutes and 59 seconds, we're back on the clock, and that's Richard. So be it. That's his personality. I don't have an issue with that. And I've said that several times. I may not agree with what he says or does, but he's the sergeant. That's his business.
While Lewis naturally harbors some animosity, he strongly believes in respecting authority, even when in disagreement. Individuals with this perspective often opt to either leave workplaces with high conflict levels or navigate official channels to address and resolve such matters.
It was, I called him one morning and I said, listen, I'm going to have to go home early. I said, because the kids are sick. I said, Amy's sick. I said, I'm going to have to get home. She's got to go in and put sub-plans in place, and she had to be at the school at like 6:30 to do that. So I had to leave at like 6:15. I went home, and then other arrangements were made. Somebody could watch the kids that morning, just briefly. So I picked up the phone and called him. I said, listen, man, I don't need to go home this morning. It's covered. And he said, are you sure? He said, because if you need to go, you need to go. And I was shocked that he was like, so, yeah, take care of what you need to take
Well, they've
care
all
of.
told us that during this, and to clear it for you, obviously we can't get specifics, but nobody on your shift had anything to do with this. This came from up above. Like I said, this was something that Captain was handling, and once it was told to the higher-ups, they wanted us to handle it. So that's where it came from. As far as a specific person that you work with, no. But you know, when we have an investigation, we have to call people in and talk to them.
And that is,
But-
oh, shit. That's fucked up.
And I don't want to add to you. Obviously, I know I'm going to add to it now. Because that's why you haven't been happy, obviously. But I knew that just the little things that Sergeant Lane was having to deal with as your sergeant, it was very out of character for you. That's why I talked to Nate and talked to Tina about it. Because I said, that's not Will, something else is going on. So,
Man, that's some fucked up bullshit. Oh well.
but,
You okay?
Yeah, man, I'm fine.
I don't want you to go.
Don't tell me don't go away mad, because you know that's...
I know, but
I was going in one ear and out the other.
you know what? You know how many times we have to call people in here and ask them some stuff, and they're like looking at us like we're freaking cross-eyed. I mean, you know, it's
but how many people come up in here and sit down with 15 fucking years experience, and you got captains and everybody else looking down saying, well, you know what, we don't have enough to ask him, so you go ask them. That. come ask me. I will tell you what happened. I have never sat in this room or any other room in this agency and lied to anybody about anything that has ever happened. And I'll be damned if I'm going to start now.
The main thing that was brought to our attention initially was this whole the Scotty thing first, and then
It's funny
how you ended up getting almost transferred, but not really when there wasn't a personnel order and all that. So that's what came to us initially.
We'll wait till the end of this investigation, and once everything's cleared, then I'll make whatever decisions I need to make. This is up.
And you know, it's just Laura's job to unscrew
I'm
it.
not mad at anybody in this room.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
And I don't want you to be at Sergeant Lane. Sergeant Lane spoke to us because we had to call him in here to talk to him. Because his name, he was not the complainant.
I don't talk to Sergeant Lane now. I'm not talking to him later on. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't have to talk to him, and he doesn't have to talk to me.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, we're not. I mean, this is bull.
It's just allegation. When it all boiled down to it, and I know it sucks.
Apparently somebody needs to show my shoes.
Let's take just a quick break. So,
Take a potty break from you.
yeah, you may take a potty break. We'll call who needs to call, and then we'll get you out of here.
You good?
Yeah, let me go get the phone number call.
Oh, you're cool. You sure you're good?
Have fun. Can I look at one of those bad walk off?
Please do. Please do. You okay?
Yes, Nate.
I know you guys are. This is kind of new to me. I think I was keeping it dark a little bit just because you know our friends, which is kind of the way I like it now.
I agree. I mean, I guess if I'd have known about this before now, I'd probably have flipped out.
Yeah. But you cool with it? I know you're not. I know you're mad. And
Michael
but,
Galvin was the one who told me about Reagan while we were running her fucking dick skinner.
yeah.
And I probably shouldn't say that. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
And the other one is his last name's Payne. I don't know what his first name is.
Yeah.
He made the comments about me being in here the other day.
Lewis starts providing the investigators with names of individuals they should speak to, aiming to assist in separating the web of rumors from the actual truth.
He made some comments about me being up at OPS writing statements on the Canterbury scene.
Canterbury.
Yeah, the home invasion where one got shot in the shoulder a
Oh.
couple of days ago. I guess it was on Friday.
Yeah.
He made a comment down there in front of a couple of people, so you probably pull whoever was down there and find out.
Why would he even say that?
I don't know, dude. I don't even know this guy. If he walked in front of me right now, I would have no idea who he was. I mean, not a clue who he was. And see, I didn't think anything about it. So one of his buddies called me the other day, and he was like, he said something about him, and I said, so you know that kid? He said, yeah. I said, where? I said, who is he? And I said, man, this guy's running his mouth about me, dude. I said, you can tell him if he wants to run his mouth about me, I said, he needs to come talk to me first.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. I mean, you know, if he wants to know something, he needs to come talk to me.
Yeah.
But that's
like I say, I mean, we got to ask the questions. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it, but I can deal with. We can deal with it, and then just get all this past us. It's as uncomfortable as it gets. One last complaint came in with all this.
while I was downstairs.
No, but I'm sure my phone's gonna be ringing after all this is. I'm just messing. Because bad things come in threes. And I told, initially it came in from Charlie Shift, and they asked us to handle it because they didn't want. And again, I just want to put the cookies on the bottom shelf. I don't keep anything from you. Number one, because it's not the right thing to. But number two, you're my friend, and I just wouldn't do that to you. They asked us to handle it just because they didn't want to make it seem like they were piling on stuff on you, because it's just something that came at a bad time. And I said, listen, Will's a friend of mine. I'll ask him. Just man to man ask him. There were some deputies that came forward on Charlie Shift, and they were making comments about, apparently it involved Sherry Lotta, and now whenever they said Sherry Lotta, I kicked Laura out of the picture. Because I didn't want there to be any kind of conflict. But now Sherry's not the one who came forward with this complaint.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's a comment that I made about Sherry Lotta,
Yeah.
it's probably nothing that I haven't said to her or talked to her about, because I love her with all my heart.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a comment or anything. Apparently she had been called to a scene to pat down a female. You had arrived later on, and then apparently gave her a kiss on the cheek on the scene.
Sherry?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Well, some other deputies came forward, and they felt it was a little bit unprofessional.
Okay. Well, then
So-
I'll flat out tell you, that probably happened.
And that's,
Yeah. And I'll take that one
Yeah.
all day long, because absolutely.
Lewis acknowledges that regardless of the platonic and consensual nature, displaying physical affection like this in the workplace, particularly within a crime scene, isn't appropriate. He has no issue admitting that this incident occurred.
And I think the way it was perceived is because it, like whenever I was getting ready to say something weird, like Tina, I've seen you do it to her. It's inside. It's with friends.
Absolutely.
Punching buddies and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's inside.
Yep.
We've done it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But they thought it was unprofessional outside.
You know what? And that may very well be that. And I'm not going to tell you that I did or did not do it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you ahead of time, I probably did.
Well, and like I said, I didn't want you to think that Sherry came up here and stirred this up. It did not, and Tina had to talk to Sherry, and Sherry made that very clear.
Yeah.
I just didn't want you to turn around and say, "Oh, Sherry went and complained on me." That's not the case.
I know that Sherry would come up here and complain on me. I mean, if Sherry had a complaint with me, she would tell me in my face.
Yeah.
And
Sherry's like that.
Yeah, Sherry is, I can tell you with probably, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember where it was.
Yeah.
But I can tell you it probably happened. Because I do that with her. I've known Sherry. I knew Sherry before she worked here.
Yeah.
She used to run a pottery shop down in Pickens at Easley.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife used to go down there and make pottery. And I'd met her before. So when she was in dispatch on Delta, we all were just like, it was just like a big family.
Mm-hmm.
I still do it to Ann. Ann, when I see Ann Smith, I'll go down and give Ann a kiss on the cheek. It's not, I could definitely see me doing that. No doubt about it.
All right, we are done. You gonna grab some lunch after this? Okay. Well, before you go home, gotta get a statement from you on it all. We can just wrap up all three in one statement. I know it's gonna take a while to type it up. If you decide to stay the rest of the day, why don't you grab some lunch or something before you start typing?
This thing up and be done with it.
Okay. Just address the whole deal with Mendenhall. Address the whole transfer deal with the cars and all that stuff. And then address the deal with Sherry. And like I said, if you're going to...
What about the one with Lane and Alex?
Yeah, throw that in there as well. About the allegation that you had said that about, in front of another deputy. Throw that in there that you didn't say that. Because that was the allegation that came forward And I'm hearing it secondhand through the
See,
investigators.
I think what's funny is that nobody on Charlie Platoon's complaining, but everybody on Charlie Platoon seems to be talking about shit they don't be talking about.
Yeah. You know how it is right here.
Well, I know that there was a whole lot of things that were said to me that obviously apparently weren't true.
Yeah.
So, and I know that this is. Man,
Which part?
You know what, dude? I'm thinking instead of giving a statement,
Yeah.
I'm thinking let's walk out. It's all shit, and you know what? No, that's not true. I'm going to give a statement, and I'm going to see the investigation through.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say just.
I'll see the investigation through.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. If they look talk to me
Mhm.
and they want to treat me like a redheaded stepchild,
Mhm.
no, that's fine. I'm done. I mean, it's the thing about my biggest problem is if I'm almost 100% sure that if you sit down and talk to one person about the entire thing and everybody sits down in a room together and figures it out, then none of the shit will even be on the table.
And that's kind of what Laura's job is. That's my job to supervise it, is to get all the facts together. You know, because you're right. You know, you tell one person something, and then by the time they repeat it 3 times, it's 180 degrees in the other direction.
I can tell you, everybody probably is saying, "Oh yeah, he said he was going to Echo," but I never did.
Yeah.
Because everybody assumed that I was going there. I've had guys from Echo Platoon ask me, "When are you coming to Echo?" And you know what? It's not even working. It's just not even working. I'll tell you this. All this is a result of problem, period. Ain't no doubt in my mind.
Really?
One way or another. All this is a result of what happened, brother.
And this is partly my fault. My knowledge of it is actually pretty limited. Just because as soon as we knew about it, I'd ask Laura, "How you doing? Can I do anything to help you out?" No. So my knowledge of it is limited. If I don't know of anything, if it ties it up with Bravo, I'm not aware of anything that ties up with Bravo.
Well, I mean, the Scotty Mendenhall thing.
Well, no, Scotty Mendenhall, yeah.
I mean, that's point blank.
I mean-
And then the thing about Rick, who the fuck would make a comment like that? Who would make a fucking comment about taking down 2 sergeants? A bunch of people that you don't even know. I didn't even talk to these guys for 2 weeks and got complained on because I didn't talk to them. You know about that? Yeah.
That's the first I've heard about that.
I got complained on because I didn't talk to them. But I don't talk to anybody I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was there.
Yeah.
And I worked. Man, this is bull.
Well, and it's up to us just to clean it up.
Yeah, let me call him. I'm gonna call Lieutenant, tell him I ain't fucking thing. When y'all gonna have this shit cleared up?
Hopefully within the next few days.
So, feasibly.
You know, we type it up, it gets sent to the sheriff. You know, when the sheriff decides to make a call on it, the sheriff decides to make a call on it. You know,
Man, this is
I don't know.
horse shit. I'm not gonna sit around just so somebody can fucking think about something long enough to determine, well, I'm gonna believe what I want to believe.
well, you know, give him time. Give him this time. You know, and like Lieutenant said, you know, he's got an open door policy. Call him.
Fuck that.
You know?
Dude, if I walk into his office today and say, your captain did this and you said this to me and this is what happened, how's that going to look? He's directly involved in it.
You know, and like I said, you know, what we're doing is we're just compiling it right now. I'm just compiling it so that there's a clear picture. It's a clear picture. But before you take off, if you end up taking off today, you gotta get that.
Will Lewis underwent a series of events after the investigation. Despite keeping his job and eventually becoming sheriff, his former assistant, Savannah Neighbors, accused him of sexual harassment and assault during a business trip in March 2017. She sued and received a settlement of close to $200,000. Lewis admitted to a sexual relationship, but claimed it was consensual. In October 2019, he was found guilty of 1 count of misconduct as a public officer, but not guilty of common law misconduct in office. He faced a dozen other charges related to misconduct, obstruction of justice, perjury, and misconduct as a public officer, but these were later dismissed. Ultimately, on October 13, 2021, Will Lewis was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.